That's great. Yeah, you were saying all your grandkiddos would have been on the same beach, right?
Yep, that's right.
Very cool.
Okay, YouTube is,
Excellent. Thank you for that.
yep.
Everybody going to be on tonight?
As far as I know, I don't receive any emails. I can check now, but I didn't receive any emails to say otherwise.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, Kyle.
Hey, Sonny. How are you?
How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
Good. You're holding down the fort?
Of course. Of course. I think Matthew's in Oceanside this weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
There's Vice Chair Phillips joining. Two,
Right on.
need two more.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
We've got 3 minutes.
Hi, Andy. I'm going to start sending out text messages.
That's your call. I don't have any emails, so nobody's starting to show.
How's North Carolina, Sonny?
Oh, it's wonderful.
You look relaxed.
Yeah. It's about 10 o'clock. I might fall asleep in the middle of this. Thanks for everything you're doing there. I appreciate it.
No problem. No problem.
Nope, Brian's on. Hey, Brian.
Both Brian's?
Just one Brian so far.
Which one?
Your
The one
Brian.
that looks like you.
Oh,
Hello.
nice. That poor guy.
One more. Uno mas. I sent Christoph a text.
Okay,
Nope, wrote me back.
there you go. Just 1 minute.
Yeah, yep.
No, Susan?
Hey, Christoph.
Hello.
Pregnancy.
No Susan yet, Andy. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I just wondered if she was RSVP'd or whatever.
I didn't hear that she wasn't coming.
Okay, good.
You have 5. You could give them a couple minutes or you can start.
Hello, Brian.
Hi.
Hey, Brian.
How are you?
Let's wait until 7:02 since we didn't hear. We'll give everybody another minute or two here because we did not hear that they weren't going to come. So just one more minute or so.
Sounds good.
I think we need nicknames for the Bryans, like you guys have other names? It's confusing to us old people.
It's a hard name to
BCBF?
have nicknames. There's not a lot.
Should we ask your moms?
No.
All of Brian Culbreth's girls have nicknames, but my two boys did not have nicknames. And I don't know that Brian Faith had a nickname either, but I'm not sure.
No, not really.
Not that they would tell us to their face, right?
Let's go ahead and get started. It's
Culbreth, I don't
7:02.
really.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
That sounds great. There you go.
Nice. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll be calling our meeting to order with a call to the community first. This is the time for the citizens who would like to address the city. It actually says
I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
the RPG Commission on any non-agenda items. Action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to asking staff to review the matter, asking that the matter be put on a future agenda, or responding to criticism. Is there anybody here that would like to speak during the call to the community from the community?
I don't have any requests and I don't have anybody from the public.
Nobody from the public is in the meeting, and we don't have any requests, so we'll move on. Staff reports. This report includes the following items: maintenance, currently in progress and/or complete. Kyle, would you like to take it away?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Commissions currently in progress. Maintenance right-of-way trimming is done on a bi-weekly maintenance schedule. Mowing of turf is done weekly, and manicure of turf is done bi-weekly. Trees and turf are watered regularly. Irrigation maintenance is done regularly. Spraying for weed control is needed. Street sweeping is scheduled and sectioned and done weekly. Tierra Verde Lake is monitored and cleaned out weekly. Currently in progress and or completed. A&H painting has completed the repainting of various sections of the perimeter wall. West Coast Arborist has completed the date palm trimming. West Coast Arborist removed 6 dead 30-foot tall ash trees. Public Works is working on replanting 6 elm trees in this area. Public Works is working on making finished repairs to Scout Playground from damages caused from the storm this past January. Scheduled date for final repairs is June 14th through the 18th, and park will be closed during that time. Public Works closed 2 Acre Park for repairs and are waiting on quotes from vendors.
Did you also mention the wall on Litchfield Road, Kyle, too?
Yeah, that's actually in progress. We're having the Litchfield wall from the Wigwam underpass to Bird Lane replaced. Woody, the city engineer, has been working on that recently. Us as Public Works didn't really have a whole lot to do with that. That's more of the city engineer.
And apologies, that's not on the agenda. I thought I heard something about it. I apologize there.
Oh, of the
Thanks
A&H
for that, Kyle.
painting. You're welcome. The painting of the perimeter walls, the current walls that we have around the city have been repainted and restuccoed. So.
Go ahead, Christoph.
Thanks. I just wanted to say just compliments to the team for getting the Scout Park, or at least the playground, back in operable condition really quickly after our last meeting. So thank you for that. I did have one question on the palm trimming. Just curious when we expect the fan palm trimming to begin and end.
That's actually supposed to be done in July. We are in the process of working on the contract with West Coast Arborists at the current time.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Kyle, it looks like there's a price here on the elm trees. Were they the elm trees you referred to as being recently planted as replacement trees for the other dead trees?
Yes. So in your packet, we did include during the discussion that we are in the process of replacing the ash trees that were removed at Rose Park around the amphitheater, and going to replace them with Chinese elms.
That's part of a business item that we'll get to later.
Okay, that's part of a business item too that we'll talk about later, I'm hearing.
Yes, sir.
Are there any other questions for Kyle? Excellent. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Community and Recreation Services Monthly Report. This report includes the following items: Recreation Center Facility, Aquatics, Sports, Community Services, Preschool, Special Events. Tricia?
Thank you,
take it away?
Chairman Taddy, Commissioners. I hope you're all doing well tonight. The rec center is in full swing. We've started up all of our summer programming this week. The pool opened to the public on Saturday, May 29th, Memorial Weekend. So we've been open roughly a week and things are going very well. The Legardo swim team just had their first swim meet this morning. They've got 235 swimmers. So we're real excited about that. They're back on the come up, I guess, and happy that with the current situation of COVID, that everybody is really back together and doing well and still staying safe. Good things happening at the rec center. Same thing with sports. Challenger Sports Camp, the summer camp started this week, and there are 40 kids enrolled in that. So that's good. And next week, Pat and Jack, his youth sports assistant, will be running a T-ball clinic for the little guys, 3 and 4 year olds. So that's a camp they're putting on at Jackie Robinson. And there's a small group of those kids that are going to get together and learn some of those basic T-ball skills so that they'll be in good shape when it comes time to sign up for the Rec League's T-ball season. And the guys will be doing the same thing for basketball. And there's also an archery clinic coming up. So we have those 4 activities going on in June, and then they run again in July. So that's pretty exciting because we didn't have anything last summer. And even the summer before that, sports were on hiatus. So we're happy to be offering some year-round sports activity that way for the kids. In terms of preschool also started their Summer Explorers this past Monday, so this week as well. This week's theme was a pirate's life, so they were real cute, walking around and making pirate hats and telescopes, and they created a little plank and walked the plank, even though I'm not sure they knew exactly what that meant. So we kept it fun. The preschool teachers are doing a great job. There are 14 total in that, actually 15, they just added one. So there's 15 total in the morning session and another 15 in the afternoon session. So we've got our hands full at the rec center. There's kids everywhere, families everywhere, and it's really great to see the activity again. In terms of community services, we are working right now on the next city line. So the July through September issue, is being finalized, and it should be mailed out to the residents starting June 28th. So roughly that first week of July, it should hit everybody's mailbox. And special events is, of course, planning for 4th of July. We're doing our annual Splash Bash at the Rec Center. So 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Sunday, July 4th. We'll be out there. Rec Center will be open. We'll have games and activities on the front lawn as well. So we'll be offering all daytime activities. And then, of course, the Wigwam will be running their Red, White, and Boom in the evening from 7 to 8:30, and that'll be followed by the fireworks that the city and the Wigwam co-sponsor. So that's what's going on currently with Rec. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Tricia.
Anthony?
I would just say, Tricia, there are tatties in the soccer and on the Legardo swim team, and both are outstanding.
I will pass that information along to the staff. Thank you.
Well,
Okay.
Are you thinking Arts in the Park will be starting again in the late fall or whenever it starts?
Yes, actually, Andy, our staff's been in communication with the Wigwam. We have our dates lined up, and we also have a lot of interest from local bands. So we are planning to move forward with that. As soon as we figure out who goes in what slot, then we'll start putting the word out to everybody too. But that first date, Oktoberfest is planned for that first Saturday in October, which off the top of my head, I can't remember if it's the 2nd or the 3rd, but then the very next Sunday will be our first Arts in the Park concert. So we'll be back to those for sure.
Great, thank you.
Thanks again, Tricia. The next item is business approval of minutes. Presenter Marissa Romo, Deputy City Clerk. Marissa?
Yeah, so can everybody hear me okay? Okay, minutes are in your packet for April 8th, regular meeting. If there are not any questions, I just need a motion for approval.
The motion to approve the minutes from the April 8th meeting.
Second?
All in favor of approving the minutes from April 8th, 2021, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. So let it be. Stags Park Playground Equipment Presenter Kyle, Deputy Director of Public Works. Take it away, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your packet on page 14 and page 19, this is the two schematics that staff has come up with currently. Now keep in mind that most of this is stuff that can fit in the shade structure that's currently there. There's a lot of things that we have to take in consideration, fall zones, all that stuff. So we did have Triple M vendor come out, give us sizing, what's possible, what could be actually placed there. Obviously the color scheme, we're trying to keep it uniform with our current parks. On page 19, we actually tried to throw a little bit of color in there. I don't know, in your guys' packet, it kind of looks like it might be a little bit on the red side, but that's actually orange, just probably from the printer or whatever it may be. So we were thinking about actually trying to throw a little bit of the Litchfield orange in there as well. So these are the two playgrounds that we came up with, and this is what we're thinking of going with in the future. Price-wise, we've gotten notifications from most vendors that either the prices are probably going to increase due to lack of supplies. So we did note that in there, that it's, as of right now, this is what it is, but it could potentially raise in the future. Other than that, yeah, we try to include everything. The age range is from 5 to 10 as well. So, any questions?
Kyle or
Yes.
Mr. Chairman? Well, one if Kyle could, if he knows enough about the equipment, just to explain some of the features of each of the playgrounds. Have you looked at them enough, Kyle? You could share a little bit?
Yes, sir. So when speaking with the Triple M rep, he kind of gave us some pointers of what attracts children, and his thing was corkscrew slides. So he said, if you draw on the corkscrew slides, it draws kids. It's a how do you explain it? A visual thing. So he wanted, we asked to have monkey bars included. We definitely wanted to try to keep the swing set that's currently there, but just have it replaced. We didn't want any enclosed tunnels. We asked for open bridges. This way it keeps the graffiti out, kids hiding in there at night, whatever it may be. So there was little things that we've asked during this whole drawing and sketching.
Looks like there's some musical instruments on there. Looks like some drums or something on
Page 14.
one of, I don't know what page it is on my, but it's like something right down front. Looks like bongo drums or something.
Yeah, so that was actually part of the playground structure. So that was actually included with that playground.
Right.
They did suggest doing some sensory things as well.
Mhm.
It's always attractive to kids. Kids go over there and beat on it, spin things. I think some of them at Scout. I think at Scout we actually do have one that actually plays music. So it's a kid drawer. So they suggested that we'd actually try to add that in as well.
What about ADA features?
That is the next thing we were working on, and we discussed with the rep. So he said, as long as we have EWF to floating to the curb height, it's ADA compliant. Passing wise, for kids to be able to get on it, there was not enough room to install one just by the size there, that the available size that we had to place this playground equipment. But he says that in the future, there's a possibility that we could add the rubber matting, so wheelchairs could be accessible up to the playground itself. So we were kind of limited on what we can actually put there just by the size and the limitation.
Maybe look into when we do the swings. I know that there's a set of swings that it's actually ADA wheelchair accessible, that you might possibly talk to them about having something there.
We actually did. So on page 16, if you look at the swing set, there is an ADA primetime swing bay for ADA compliant swing.
Is that the same as we have at Turtle Park, or is that something different?
So they've actually come out with new ones, and they asked if we would like to have an ADA swing with co-parenting, or I'm sorry, co-parent ride along, or would it just be a singled out? So there's options in the future if we would ever want to just switch them out. There's a possibility that we just make the switch and just make it a single, or with a parent being able to be on there as well.
Commissioner Fix, did you have a question too?
I do, thank you. Thank you for providing this. This is such detailed information. I really appreciate it. My question is the balance beam. Does anybody else question a balance beam in the park? Or am I just overthinking it?
What's your concern, Susan?
Well, I feel that it kind of cuts off, the natural flow of the park too, and I feel that it's a little bit dangerous. Kids running through there, tripping on it. You can't push strollers through there you have to go around a balance beam. falling off. You're going to constantly have to maintain whatever they fall into so they're not hurting themselves. I don't know, maybe, again, Kyle, maybe I'm overthinking it.
No, and with these playground sets, so they come as a preset structure, so we can always remove stuff or add in certain things as well. This is what would actually fit in that area currently. So there's always a possibility if Commissioner Council says no, we don't want the I-beam on there, we've considered it being a trip hazard or whatever it may be, we can actually have it removed.
And, oh, sorry. Question, Mr. Chairman? So I think I saw in the quote that you're replacing the sand with wood chips like the other parks. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sand is no longer fall safe compliant. So we are in the process of replacing whatever sand is left in any of the playgrounds with EWF.
Okay. And I couldn't quite tell from the drawings which way is north. Is it set up the same way it is today, or is it like, will the swings be on the same side as they are today, or is it flip-flopped, or?
Yeah, the playground structure itself will stay the same, just considering the size. So there you have to have fall zones outside of the obviously the slides, the monkey bars. The swing set would probably be adjacent to the playground equipment and not have it set vertical across from it as it currently is, just the way it's set up and the size.
But it's in it's in that same area. I think that's the south end of the playground. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So the agenda item said information action. I think I agree with Commissioner Fix is that I'm not sure that we would, well, I guess my first question, Sonny, would we be recommending one of these formats to City Council?
Actually, I think you could recommend it to Kyle, and when Kyle takes it to the City Council for approval, he could let them know that it had been approved or recommended by RPG.
Thank you for that,
Whichever
Sonny.
one you decide on. Yeah, and I personally, I don't think the little balance beam is a real problem. There's a lot of kids that walk on curbs and are doing gymnastics these days, and balancing that's a nice part of learning, and it's looks like it's 6 inches off the ground. And I know Kyle could tell you, I don't know if it has to be right in the middle of the playground, or could it be on an edge, or with enough fall room, or so that it's not, like a tripping hazard or so.
I would have to verify that, Sonny. I'm not quite sure on that one.
Okay.
I may want
Commissioner Gertz. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Fix and then Commissioner Gertz.
So we've all had our kids at this park swinging on the swing set, jumping off the swings. If this balance beam is in the area of where the swing set is going to remain, there is no more jumping off those swings into, the free open space area. That's really just my main concern.
So I do know with the swing set currently, it is a little close. So the plan was to actually move it. How do I running east or north to south instead of east to west?
Okay. So
this way we have to have a certain amount of fall zone for swings too, and I think if I remember, it's 16 feet both ways, forward and backwards. So there has to be enough space in it. That's why we asked for the swings to be flipped over and face the ball field that's currently there.
Okay.
Commissioner Gertz.
Thank you. These are great, and I think the size is appropriate for the park, especially compared to what we looked at last time. I'm not so concerned about the balance beam, looking at the diagram on page 16, to where I think the picture makes it seem like it's really out there and in the way. With that diagram, it's almost almost 50% of that would be surrounded by something else, and there's still enough room to, if you kids wanted to run through there. And I'd rather have, to Sunny's point, my kids fall a small fall into wood chips like that and learn to balance than do it somewhere else later.
Sure.
Go ahead, Commissioner
Both are
Colbert.
great, by the way. I don't think you can go wrong with either of these.
Thank you.
And I think it said on there that staff's recommending option 1. Is that right, Kyle?
Yes, sir.
And, go ahead.
I don't know why it was labeled 1, but just by the color scheme and how it was laid out, we were recommending page 14, playground equipment. And obviously, there's a possibility if RPG likes the little bit of orange thrown in there as well. With this page 14 setup, we can always add a little bit of orange in there as well.
I would be in favor of some orange. Kyle, this may sound like a silly question. 15 and 14 are the same playground, just from different angles, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Vice Chair Phillips, did you have a question?
I mean, just from looking at the two structures, and I think they're both really cool. I think 14 and 15 look more fun and maybe have some more different features than the second one, but that's just me looking at them. And I like the orange, a little bit of orange.
Sure. Staff definitely agreed on 14 and 15.
I agree. I like 14 and 15 better also. Any other thoughts on anything else that we discussed?
You may be ready for a motion.
So now the motion would be, are we recommending to Kyle to take to City Council option 1, pages 14 or 15? And we might want to say with or without balance beam, since it was a discussion point. Or are we recommending option 2, page 19?
I'll move that we recommend option 1, pages 14 and 15, pardon me, with the balance beam and some orange.
Second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. Thank you, Kyle.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you again, I should say. I think I lost my agenda. Oh, got it. Rose Park tree replacement, presenter Kyle Ames, Deputy Director of Public Works. Discussion and possible action to recommend approval to City Council the replacement of ash trees with elm trees at Rose Park. Take it away, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commission. As some of you may know, we actually did lose 6 30-foot ash trees at Rose Park surrounding the amphitheater here recently. We did have West Coast Arborists out. They had them removed, stump ground down. I had them tested and looked at by a certified arborist, and they were diagnosed with a ash fungus. Hence the reasons why we ended up losing them. We did everything we could to save them. So unfortunately, you can only do so much, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you got to move on and try something else. So we are recommending to council to either replace these with a 60-inch box tree, Chinese elm that usually range from 20 to 22 feet tall with a 4-inch diameter trunk, or a 48-inch box tree that ranges from about 12 to 15 feet tall. And the reason why we are requesting something like this as sheer size, I'm sure it was a shock to most people. Those ash trees are very large, very filling in that area. So we didn't feel like we needed to put something very tiny in there because it's going to take years for them to grow back to that size. We were requesting to see if they can actually have larger trees planted to fill in that area a little bit quicker. The reason why we chose Chinese elms is they're not susceptible to funguses. They require a little bit less maintenance and a little bit less water. The concern is we were going to request for them to do it in early fall. We're not going to recommend them to do it this summer due to sheer heat. These are very large trees, and the chances of them not taking during summer are very high. And it's a risk that we're not willing to take, and it's obviously a huge financial purchase. And they do offer warranties. Some of them offer a 90-day. Moon Valley does offer a 1-year extended warranty, but who's to say after 1 year they still do not take, or we have some kind of damage. So yeah, that's where we're at. We're running low on resources, unfortunately. Growers are not growing trees anymore. The 60-inch box trees are actually about 15 years old. Most nurseries and most growers won't grow them that long anymore. It's too high of a cost to maintain them and keep them at nurseries. So I did find some, and this is where we stand. Any questions?
I have a question. Kyle, how do those trees that have lived in a box for 15 years do they go crazy and love it, or do they die? I mean,
So usually how it starts is they'll start them in a 15-gallon tub, and then they'll transplant them after 1 or 2 growing seasons to a 24, and then it just continuously moves up. You do have to be careful because they claim, hey, they've been in here for 15 years. That's my job to go out there and check them and make sure they don't have root curdle. They're susceptible. They're not being choked out at the trunk system, all that stuff. So there's risks that you take with them being in larger tree boxes like that. But unfortunately, that's how they come. So
thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
As far as the warranty goes, is that something the city would typically purchase for only, I mean, my thought is for only 1-year warranty, 25% of the price seems steep when we have a professional like you watching over them. So I wonder if it's like a standard type purchase.
So what the warranty actually covers is wind damage, as long as they're double staked, disease, possibility they didn't get enough water. There's a lot of factors into that warranty that Moon Valley will actually replace, considering not saying that it would be the city's fault because it didn't get the water, but sometimes you take that huge risk of transplanting something that large and then not adapting to the soil in general. So that's always that good, especially a large purchase like that. It's always that good backbone to fall on and saying, okay, they're going to come out, remove the one that's obviously died, that they just planted, and replace it with a brand new one. But who's to say after a year? I mean,
yeah,
it still doesn't take.
Okay. And I don't know, is that a decision that the commission would weigh in on? Or is that more of a council or kind of budget decision?
I would think it'd be a council decision, just to the sheer fact of, do they want to spend the extra money to guarantee these trees surviving longer than a year, or is it's a risk we're willing to take, put them in, we're not going to do the warranty and see what it does.
Okay.
Deputy City Clerk Marissa Romo also said that she believes that would be a council decision.
Excellent. Well, I'll leave it there then. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other questions?
More question. So how exactly what's the difference between the two trees? I know the size, but I see 48 inches and 60 inches. What exactly is that measuring?
So a 48-inch box is a 40-inch box cross diameter.
Okay.
A 60-inch box is 60-inch cross diameter, and so they vary in height wise. So 48s usually run between 12 and 15 feet tall. 60s run between 20 to 22 feet tall, and they actually have 72s that can reach upwards of 30 feet, but you're not finding those right now.
And is staff recommending one option over the other?
Yes, I did recommend that we go with the 60-inch tree just for sheer size. If council wants something that's going to fill in that area, obviously you're going to have your height, your little bit of more foliage that's going to kind of have a nicer canopy once it's planted. But like I said, it all depends on financing.
Now, is this, since we wouldn't be planting these until spring, is that right?
No, our plan is actually to try to get them in early fall. We don't really want to plant during the summer. Our heat is just too brutal on these trees, especially during transplanting like this. We can plant early fall or early spring.
Okay. Okay. And then, but we're asking council then to make a decision now for budgetary reasons or to reserve these essentially since they're going.
Correct.
Okay. Thanks.
Sonny, would we then need a motion if there are no other questions for Kyle to recommend one or the other? Marissa says yes. So are there any other questions for Kyle?
I just have I guess, procedural question. I mean, if money's no object, I think choices are easy, right? So it's, how do we take that into account? Like, is there some sort of like this or that we should be taking into account where if, one is twice the cost, well, option 2 is twice the cost of the first, could we maybe put some more trees in other places that are sparse right now? Or is it simply like, yeah, we like the big trees are great, right? In which case I think we'd all say big trees are great.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of factors that we can run into. I mean, obviously spending a huge amount of the budget on replacing these trees, or like you stated, do the 48-inch box and then have a little bit left over so we can do some other planting around.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I think he makes a good point, but also staff is right now would like to recommend the 60, if I understood correctly. And then they could share that the commission, what your recommendation was. But I don't know about saying, I understand what they want to do. They're taking down some large trees and they would like to put something back that because it's in such a high visibility area at that park and where there's weddings and different things like that, I think they'll find places to plant other trees in the future anyway. I don't know that this is the end of the budget for tree planting in the CIP. Kyle would know better all about that than me, but I'm sure if there's trees needed, if there's smaller trees needed in other places, there'd still be budget to do that. So the big question is, do you want the nicer trees here to fill in this area and replace the trees that went down? Or are you saying, no, we don't want that? At least that would be the commission's recommendation one way or the other. And then the council's gonna have the final decision.
Thank you for that, Sonny. Kyle, maybe you could talk about that briefly, just in terms of, is there a budget that's already set aside for trees for any given year? And what percentage of that budget would the purchase that staff is recommending be?
Yeah, we do have a tree budget, and we also have a landscape budget that we obviously use to replant plants, smaller trees. This is obviously a large purchase through that tree budget, the tree maintenance and tree planting budget. We are requesting council to obviously take that into consideration during the CIP. Currently, I'm not sure if we have it in the budget for this year, but FY 22, I think we are going to try to put this in to get these replaced.
A second point that Sonny mentioned too, it's a very high visibility area. There are special events there, correct, Kyle?
Yes, sir. We have weddings, we have graduations, yeah, all that stuff.
And in turn, that generates money for the city too, correct?
Yeah, for park reservations, correct.
So I think weighing the two options, I would lean towards going with staff's recommendation. Does anybody have anything further to ask Kyle, or any further points of discussion? Go ahead,
Sure,
sir.
yeah, I can't disagree. I was just more curious of the context of the whole thing and like the framework in which we should make the decision. So that sounds good.
So if there's no other questions for Kyle or comments on the two options, then we would just want to have a motion. Motion would be to go with the staff recommendation or not to go with the staff recommendation. 5.3A and 5.3C are the two documents that I have from Moon Nursery.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we go with staff's recommendation of the 60-inch trees.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, the ayes have it.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks again for that, Kyle, and for everything you've contributed tonight. Much appreciated.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you.
Okay, next is Commissioner's Report on Current Events. Would anybody like to go first? Vice Chairperson Phillips?
I'd like to commend Kyle and the whole public works staff on the beautification of Kiwanis Park. I've driven by there like randomly the last, I don't know, over a month, 6 weeks or whatever, and seen people out there working, and went by again today, and it looks like a totally different place. Like it actually looks like a park, not just cactus and stuff, and it looks really, really nice.
Thank you. Sonny, I don't know if I can do this. I'll touch on it really quick about Kiwanis Park.
If it's not on the agenda, you really can't discuss.
Sure. Okay.
You can talk to her afterwards, or,
Sure.
or she can get in touch with you tomorrow or something.
Absolutely.
Would anybody else like? Go ahead, Commissioner Gertz.
Yeah, so just a big thanks to the rec staff, Tricia, for the event that we had for opening. That was a lot of fun. And our kids thoroughly enjoyed that, and the slide and the pool and all that. So good times were had by all. A second item, and maybe something for future discussions. I know we can't get into it, but I've myself experienced, and I've had others experience recently, some really close calls with golf carts around Scout Park, both on the surface road where there's an intersection, and where I suppose it would be the northeast side of the park, close to the Wigwam parking lot for the golf course, coming onto that road. Close calls in terms of golf carts just essentially blindly flying through those corners, with disregard for cars or children on bicycles. So maybe that's something that in the future we can discuss, if there's any possible remediation or recommendations that we could make to keep that area a little lower risk.
Thank you, Commissioner Gertz. If I would like to say something. If there's anybody else, though, I could go last. No? So I had to drop off one of my twins to swim, and then I'm running over to drop my other twin off to soccer, and there's kids playing tennis. There's all kinds of people in the park between the library and the pool, because that was like one of the staging areas. And I was just thinking to myself, the last summer looked nothing like this. So thank you all so much for making sure that like our return to almost normal feels the way it does in Litchfield Park. So much appreciated. Does anybody else have anything for Commissioner's report on current events? Okay, topics for referral to City Council. I don't think we have any. Okay, if there are no topics for referral to City Council, we would just be waiting for a motion to adjourn. Not everybody at once.
I will
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor of adjournment? Aye.
Bye.
All opposed?